there guys, how's it going? Dexter here, and we've got a pretty cool groove for you today. So we're going to be doing this. We've got a bit of a kind of displaced snare drum thing towards the end, because we're used to hearing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And a displaced snare drum is just where we take a snare drum and put it in a different place. Easy. So, and it's just going to happen right at the end. So rather than the snare drum on beat 4, we're going to put it on the and of 4. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and, which creates this kind of cool, funky vibe. And then we're going to line that up with some other things. So we're going to start bass drum and hi-hat together, followed by hi-hat, and then a snare drum and a hi-hat. So we have bass and snare. Then we're going to have this little kind of nugget, which I love to talk about all the time, which is a hi-hat on its own, a bass drum on its own, and then a hi-hat and a bass drum together. So 3-note phrase there, hat, bass together. And on my bass drum bootcamp courses, I talk about that little phrase all the time because it's one thing that just annihilates drummers across the world, trying to get that 3-note phrase. But once you get it, it just makes your playing sound so much cooler. So those 3 notes, if you take nothing else away from this lesson, hat, kick, together, get it sorted. Hat, kick, together, and then you've got another bass drum and hi-hat together, snare, and then not a snare drum and hi-hat. That's where you'd normally put a snare drum and hi-hat, but you don't. Sorry. So bass drum and hi-hat, and then you've got hi-hat on its own, hi-hat and a snare drum together. So the last 3 notes are kick and hat, and then snare and hat together. So splitting it into 3 parts. Part 1, kick and snare. Part 2 is that little 3-note phrase, hat, kick together. And then part 3 is kick and hat, snare and hat together. 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1. And straight after that very last snare drum is the first beat of the bar, because you repeat it because we made that snare drum later, but everything inside you is going to scream out, no, 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 you need another hi-hat after the last snare drum, because we're used to playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... But here we don't have that last hi-hat because the snare drum's on that last hi-hat. If you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, I'm just talking about the kind of beats in the bar. Don't worry about it. Hit your drums, make it sound cool. So that's the main thing. So that's the pattern. So get used to repeating it as well, because that's where the little bit of a kind of tough error in that, trying to get back to the beginning. So spend some time with that and then you're good to go. So I'm going to do a short solo now, demonstrating this in a few places with a couple of fills and things as well. Move it over to the ride cymbal, add some flair, and see what happens. So here we go, and good luck. Have some fun with it, guys. Take it easy. I'll see you soon.